On the 6th day after their son Noah went missing, Michael and Emily had begun to fear the unthinkable. The police search had slowed, neighbors had returned to their lives, and the house that once echoed with laughter now felt like a tomb. Every creaking floorboard, every ticking clock reminded them of the silence Noah left behind. The first time the German shepherd appeared at their window, Michael and Emily thought it was just a stray looking for food, but then it happened again. He lifted a paw and tapped Dot once, twice, 3 times Dot, and again. Every evening, right as the sun dipped behind the houses, the dog would sprint to their window, stand on his hind legs, and tap the glass with desperate urgency. Staring directly at them, his eyes weren't wild. They were pleading. Their son Noah had vanished 5 days earlier. No clues, no leads, no answers, but something about the dog's behavior felt intentional, almost like he knew something. This dog wasn't lost. He was a police dog, and he was trying to lead them somewhere. And when they finally decided to follow him, what the dog revealed in the woods turned their blood ice cold. The 5th morning, without Noah, felt heavier than the 4 before it. Michael sat on the edge of the couch, his head buried in his hands, while Emily stared blankly at the family photo on the wall, Noah's wide smile piercing her heart like a blade. The house, once filled with laughter, now echoed with a silence so loud it was suffocating. That's when they heard it. A sharp, sudden tap against the living room window. Emily flinched. Michael looked up, confused. Another tap followed, louder, faster, urgent. They rushed to the window, expecting a branch or maybe a stray cat, but instead, a German shepherd stood there, front paws pressed against the glass, eyes locked onto theirs with strange intensity. His chest rose and fell rapidly, as if he had run a long distance. His tail wasn't wagging. His ears weren't relaxed. He looked desperate. Emily took a cautious step closer. "Whose dog is this?" she whispered. Michael shook his head. "I've never seen him before." For a moment, the dog held their gaze, then tapped once more, slow, deliberate. As though signaling them, Emily swallowed hard. It almost felt like the dog was trying to tell them something important. The next evening, just as the sky turned orange and shadows stretched across the neighborhood, the tapping returned, this time faster, sharper, more urgent. Emily rushed to the window. The same German shepherd stood there, breathing hard, paws slamming against the glass with a frantic rhythm. His eyes were wide, focused solely on her, as if begging her to step outside. Michael frowned. "What is wrong with this dog?" But before he could move, the shepherd dropped down, ran a few steps toward the edge of their yard, then turned back and barked 2 quick, sharp barks before returning to the window to tap again. He was communicating. There was no doubt now. Emily's voice trembled. "Michael, he wants us to follow him. Or he's just confused," Michael muttered. Though his uncertainty was clear, the dog repeated the strange pattern: run, turn, bark, return, tap, again and again. Then something new happened. The shepherd lowered his head and gently pushed something toward the window. A small object, dirty, worn, familiar. Emily gasped. It was Noah's keychain. The one he took everywhere. Her hands shook as she picked it up. Michael's face drained of color. This wasn't random behavior. The dog knew something. The moment Emily recognized Noah's keychain, her knees nearly buckled. Michael caught her arm, his own breath shallow. The German shepherd let out a low whine, pawing at the ground before sprinting several steps toward the street, then stopping to look back at them. This time, neither of them hesitated. Emily grabbed her coat. Michael snatched a flashlight, and together they pushed open the front door. The dog immediately took off, not running wildly, but at a steady pace, constantly checking over his shoulder to make sure they were following. His behavior was too precise, too intentional to ignore. They crossed the quiet street, the crisp evening air brushing against their skin. With each step, the dog guided them farther from the houses and deeper toward the old trail that led into the woods behind the neighborhood. Michael's voice cracked. Why would Noah's keychain be out here? Emily shook her head. I don't know. But he wants us to see something. The towering trees swallowed them, branches creaking in the breeze. The deeper they went, the darker it grew, only thin streaks of fading daylight slipping through the canopy dot. The dog suddenly stopped, sniffed the ground, and barked sharply. Broken branches littered the path. Footprints, small ones, were pressed into the dirt. Emily's heart dropped. Michael, these are Noah's. The dog barked again, louder this time, and then he ran deeper into the woods. Demanding they follow, the German shepherd darted ahead, weaving between trees with purpose, his paws barely making a sound on the forest floor. Emily and Michael followed as fast as they could, their breaths ragged, their hearts pounding louder than the rustling leaves around them. Finally, the dog skidded to a stop in front of a weather-worn shed, half collapsed and swallowed by vines. Its windows were shattered, its door crooked on rusted hinges, as though no one had stepped inside for years. Emily froze. Why would he bring us here? The shepherd barked once, then pushed his head against the door, nudging it open just enough for them to squeeze through. Michael raised the flashlight, its beam slicing through the dust-filled dark. Then Emily screamed. Lying in the corner was Noah's backpack, ripped, muddy, and unmistakably his. Scattered next to it were pages from his sketchbook, torn but clearly drawn by a child's hand. One page showed a tree with a strange symbol. Another showed the shed they were standing in. Michael's hand shook as he lifted the backpack. He was here. He was really here. The dog began pacing frantically, whining, then moved to a rotting floorboard near the back wall. He scratched, barked, scratched again, more aggressively this time. Michael knelt, shining the light downward. Something was beneath the wood. Something hidden. Emily covered her mouth, tears streaming. What is he trying to show us? The shepherd growled softly, urging them on. Whatever was under those boards? It was the clue they had been searching for. Michael wedged his fingers beneath the loose floorboard and pulled. The rotten wood cracked, splintered, then lifted enough for him to pry it open. A cold, damp smell rushed out. Emily shivered as Michael angled the flashlight downward. A narrow tunnel lay beneath the shed, dark, cramped, carved directly into the earth. Emily's breath hitched. Noah, was he taken down there? Before Michael could respond, the German shepherd leapt forward, squeezing through the opening and disappearing into the darkness. His nails scraped against the dirt, followed by an urgent bark echoing from below. He found something, Michael whispered. They dropped to their knees and crawled inside. The air grew colder, heavier as the tunnel sloped downward. Roots brushed their shoulders. Small footprints, faint but unmistakable, lined the ground. Halfway through, Emily spotted something and gasped. "His shoe." "Michael, it's his shoe." Hope and fear crashed together inside them. The dog barked again, this time louder, sharper. They crawled faster, hearts exploding with every second that passed. Suddenly, the tunnel widened into a small chamber. The German shepherd stood in the center, tail stiff, ears alert, and there curled against the far wall, shivering, pale, barely conscious, was Noah. Emily screamed his name, stumbling forward. Noah opened his eyes weakly, whispering, "Mom?" The shepherd stepped aside, allowing them through. He had been guarding their son all along. Emily wrapped her arms around Noah, holding him as if she would never let go again. Michael shouted for help, his voice echoing through the tunnel. Within minutes that felt like forever, rescue teams arrived, lifting Noah to safety and rushing him toward the waiting ambulance. The German shepherd stayed close, refusing to leave Noah's side until the very last moment at the hospital. Doctors confirmed Noah was dehydrated, frightened, and exhausted, but alive. He managed a weak smile when he saw the dog waiting outside his room, tail thumping gently. A police officer approached Michael and Emily, shaking his head in disbelief. "That dog, he isn't a stray. He's a retired canine. He escaped his kennel the day your son went missing. We think he picked up Noah's scent and followed it straight into the woods." Emily's eyes filled with tears. "He saved our son." Later that night, as Noah slept peacefully, the dog walked up to their window and tapped softly this time. Almost lovingly, Michael opened the door, voice breaking. "Come inside, boy." And for the first time, the dog stepped into their home. Not as a stranger, but as family.